Welcome to episode 24 of DAO Talk. This is your one-stop shop for everything DAOs. I'm Tommy. We have another guest this week. Frisian is out. Frisian actually had his baby November 1st, so 2 days ago. I don't know if that's news to you, to our guest.
It is news to me. Oh.
Yeah. It might be news to the world too, so maybe I'll have to cut this out if he doesn't want to send it. But yeah. So Cool Horse Girl, welcome to the pod. Give us a little bit of an intro, who you are, what you're about, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm Cool Horse Girl. I do content primarily at Index Coop, and I freelance sort of across the ecosystem. I've been in crypto since 2013, got super lucky, and I'm also a contributor in Content Guild.
I didn't know you've been in crypto since 2013.
It's a little known fact. I've been told I need to improve my elevator speech because I downsell myself. So I think that's my one that I try to slip in there and see how it goes. I got lucky. I learned about it in a Model UN conference.
That's so cool. I had no idea. Yeah. So cool. We actually have I think it might be coming on next week. We have an episode with Cool Horse Girl, a DAO Talk interview that's coming out soon. That was recorded a good time ago with Frisian before he left, but look out for that. It's awesome to have you on. So let's jump into our first topic this week. So decentralized media and Web3 is not what you think it is. This is from one of our friends from Seed Club, who we had on the podcast a few weeks ago, Steph from Seed Club. And if you wanted to learn a little bit more about this, you can either read the Mirror article that we have up on the screen or just go listen to that podcast. But Cool Horse Girl, what do you think about this? I know this is something that ties directly into what we're doing with Content Guild. So I want to hear your thoughts on all this.
Yeah, it's so cool. I'm a big fan of Steph in this article. It's also like a 5-minute read too, if anyone's interested. I think the thesis is mostly like, even though media should ideally be decentralized, it still needs verticals. And I had this experience at Index Coop and at other jobs where fully decentralized media, it sounds like the ideal because everything decentralized, right, is sort of ideal. But it gets out of control so quickly. I have so many anecdotes of random people trying to write for Index Coop, writing complete nonsense, honestly, which provided some entertainment for some time. And then we realized, like the article says, decentralized media needs verticals. So now we're a bit more buttoned up. But it's a hard question of, decentralized media being ideal, but that also not really being realistic. It's one of the few parts of decentralization where it's like, I really, from experience, don't think that's realistic, even if I don't want to admit it. But yeah, Content Guild is such a cool answer to that exact question, because there's sort of a gating mechanism between not just anyone in the world can write and get paid for it, but there's sort of some sort of attempt at gating who does it, and that there's some degree of quality. How do you frame Content Guild to someone who's never heard of it? Because I think it would answer this exact question. Yeah.
So, I mean, kind of what you touched on is we ran into the same issues around content curation. The point of the story of Content Guild is Frisian and I are running Tally's marketing department, and our big thing is if we're a DAO tooling company and we're building DAO tools, the best way to make that DAO tool better is to actually build DAOs and use the tool. So we played around for months, some small ideas and nothing ever really that would go to the public, but when it comes to media, and we were doing a lot of outsourcing to the community, right? Having people write for the Tally blog, having people write for the newsletter, having people come on the pod. It kind of just made sense to start to progressively decentralize the marketing budget and turn it into a DAO. So it's not officially a DAO in the sense of it's purely decentralized yet, but we're well on our way to doing that. So the way, really the only issue we've had, to touch on what you're talking about, with the verticals and curating content, is if we used to have a lot of inbound, and we still do a little bit, but when you have inbound, like you said, people just wanting to write for Index Coop, you get a lot of like, I'm just gonna be harsh, like shitty writers who think that
I didn't want to say it, so I'm glad you did.
There's probably another thing to this, because it's more people who are just like, they think they're good and they're entitled to, like if we're paying out $400 or $500 per article, you're going to have some grifters who just are going to write some bullshit, think we're not going to read it, and then it get funded, right? So how do we, but prior to the DAO, like it would just be me and Frisian having to like sift through a lot of stuff. Now, like as Tally's gotten a little more prominent and people have, kind of realize we're like an established source for, or the established source for DAO content, the DAO kind of makes sense, right? So now we have, 6 to 10 like really trusted creators who've contributed like 2 or 3 times to Tally or to the Content Guild. Cool Horse Girl, you being one of them, Kyler being another, who we've since elevated as editors. And then we have a bunch of other people in the DAO who are just contributors. And the difference between that is just voting power. So the way we gate content is we have 6 editors, 4 of whom were Tally employees who started the DAO, and now we're slowly starting to add more trusted individuals. And those people, those editors who have the governance rights can single-handedly vote and approve funding for content in the DAO. What we're doing in the future to get more of those contributors involved who, haven't been elevated to editor status is we're going to create a sub-DAO. So all the contributors will have their own either Discord channel or their own Discord or whatever messaging platform we'll be using. They will say there's 15 of them. They will collectively govern one editor's pass NFT, which gives voting rights. So Cool Horse Girl and me each have one individually. We can make and vote accordingly as we see fit. That sub-DAO will have one. They'll act as one individual, and they will collectively vote on what to approve and what to fund. So it's kind of just like, we call it a down process because we're still figuring out, how to purely decentralize all of this. But I, like you said, I think it is one of the first, if not the first, like true attempts at decentralizing media in a very honest way that stays true to like the ideals of decentralization. But it is really hard to do, and we're not at super big scale yet, so it's going to be interesting to see okay, as it grows and as we're putting on an event in December, how are we going to organize all this labor? How are we going to make sure? I mean, it's just going to come down to the same issues that it comes down to in a lot of other DAOs, right? Like trusting, delegation, contributors saying what they're going to do and then doing it, and so forth. But what has your perspective been on working in Content Guild? It's hard for me because I'm so it's so close to me that I can't really look at it from a bird's eye view.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I think it's been such a cool opportunity and experiment sort of, where you can just write on whatever you want. It's voted on. It seems somewhat objective in a way, where you can you're not having to schmooze, the guy on Twitter to please publish your thing. It's just all voted on with tokens. You don't really know what goes on behind the scenes, which I like. With that, and also this article, I think the question of context isn't discussed as much in the article. That was something we struggled with at Index Coop when we were sourcing writers from everywhere. And I think Content Guild probably will eventually struggle with is what do you do when you want someone to write for you, but they have they might be a great writer and have vast experience in the Web3 space, but they might not really know anything about your project. Are you still going to want to hire them? Because I know that's the eventual goal sort of with Content Guild. And then that's one part where it kind of goes against this, there should be media verticals from this article, because is it a media vertical if Content Guild is installing someone in someone else's platform? So Content Guild itself might have media verticals, be decentralized at the same time. But if you're installing someone, is that what do you do about not having enough context? How do you bring them up to speed?
Yeah, That's a great question. I don't know if I have the answer to it, but that's something that we've thought about, and we're like, well, we'll attack that when it happens, because like I haven't talked to Frisian in a few weeks because he's been out. So like, and a lot of stuff has happened with Content Code since he's been out. But I think like in the back of our minds, we've kind of almost been like, oh, we don't think we're ever going to have to deal with that because we don't think this is going to be as successful as it is, or as it seems like it's going to be. Mm-hmm. But that's a really interesting question that I don't know I have the answer to. Because it like the goal is to like, Tally is the sole funder right now. You know, like we put our marketing budget into the DAO. That's how it's funded. Like what happens if, you know, we start bringing on like 4 or 5 other organizations in the space that want to put, you know, $10K a month into the treasury and fund all types of different content. And that could mean content that's coming directly from the guild, or like you said, installing them into a different organization and writing in a way that they don't, you know, necessarily understand how Content Guild works. So I don't know where we're going to attack that head on as it comes. But I think a lot of themes we have, like when we talk about on DAO Talk, is like a lot of these thought pieces are like super important, but also there's not a lot of like actual real life examples of, you know, what they're talking about. So I'm excited to actually be a part of one of those projects that's going to like test the theory and see what happens, because you know, it could just be something could happen that we have no idea that's good, you know, that's how it's going to react the way we thought it would. So I don't know. I'm as excited to be exploring and seeing what happens.
It's fun. Few people have made it this far, right? So that's something.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, let's move right along. We'll start. That was a good long intro. Let's move into some more like good, quick fire stuff. So you put this in the prep doc. 97% of tokens on Uniswap rug pull. They're scam tokens. This is a research article.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Have you seen this? It's crazy, but it also makes so much sense.
I haven't seen it, but I'm not surprised at all. Do you know, like, the majority of the volume on Uniswap has to be in that 3% though, right? Or like, are a lot of these scam tokens like actually like driving volume?
No, I don't think so. Because I think the majority of volume is like in massive projects, right? Like nobody's actually, because anyone can make a token. I assume people make tokens that have 0 volume all the time, right? But this article is crazy. Like if you there's a Blockworks also like little briefing about it too, but it's 97.7. It's like nearly 98% of tokens on Uniswap are rug pulls. But I think it's also like an interesting question of like, what do you call a rug pull? Because Scott Lewis was on Twitter firing against this article, being like, hey, they're not all rug pulls. Some of them are like founders that abandon them, or, you know, like sort of things that I consider synonyms for rug pulls, but maybe not rug pulls themselves. So I don't know. It's an interesting read if to decide whether that 97.7% of Uniswap tokens are rug pulls is a fact. I think is probably a subjective view.
It's a rug pull. If you just abandon it, you know.
That's what I said.
Yeah. I think it's like a harsh saying in the space and no one wants to be associated with it, but it's like, if you abandon it, that's literally what a rug pull is. Maybe you're not like running off with the money, but the people who invested in the project lost the money. So
yeah, it's definitely like a million ways of saying one thing. But yeah, I'm happy to say rug pull because I'm fortunately not involved. But many of the big dogs in the space have secret ties, right? So who knows?
Yeah. All right. Soon you'll be able to make and sell NFTs on Instagram. Of course, it's starting with Polygon because Polygon has god tier business development teams. Whoever's running that is doing an awesome job. You can also now connect on Solana and Phantom Wallet, the native wallet on Solana, and see information about OpenSea collections. So this is a tweet from Meta this week. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, cool. It seems like the next step. I mean, you can have them on Twitter. Why not Instagram? I feel like I've always thought it was funny, like Web3 media, like what actually constitutes Web3 media. I saw someone say Be Real is Web3 media and like Twitter is Web2, which may be fair, but what are the actual, is having an NFT on that platform, like a Web3 media type of, I don't know, on ramp.
How is Be Real Web3?
Dude, I don't know. I was talking to these people and they were talking about Web3 coffee. And I was like, what? Dude, can anything be Web3? I think it can. I don't know.
That's strange.
Right. Yeah. But no, Polygon Goat BD. I commented something on there that was like a shit post and I was like kind of high. Yeah. like, oh, like, I don't have Instagram, but I do have a base school. And, and like one of the Polygon BD dudes was like, okay, did you mint it through SBT or whatever? And I'm like,
oh my
dude,
God,
I don't even know what that means, but respect for commenting me back at 1 a.m.
I love that so much. Yeah. I mean, something we talk about internally is like breaking into these other platforms, specifically like Instagram and TikTok, as like these massive like sources of attention and capital, or like, you know, social capital. I don't know if it's like this is the way it's going to be unlocked. Similar to like the Reddit NFT situation, like we talked about a little bit last week, how like they just called it digital collectibles and people went crazy. I think there's something to say about like coming at it from like a guerrilla marketing perspective and not as like this is crypto, this is Web3. Like I think like we've lost the like mimetic battle of like, you know, our reputation is so in the shitter. Like
yeah, it's time to
like how gamers hate NFTs, but like because they
the
hate
random
yeah, right. Like,
do you know why? I don't really know why. I could kind of give like a fake, you know, educated guess.
I'm not 100% sure why, but like at the end of the day, like everything they do is like ripe for it, right? Like buying like skins on Fortnite, like
yeah, it's one degree of separation, a separation that they've decided is very staunch, you know. Yeah. If anyone knows why gamers hate NFTs, I would love to get that answer in my DMs.
That's a great question. All right. Yeah. Tweet from Tree Girl, our friend Diana at Rehash. DAO Tools. It's a poll. Too many? Not enough. 54.7% say too many. Not enough. 45.3%. And then for reference, there's a great little like collage of the DAO tooling landscape, and there are quite a few tools. Cool Horse Girl,
there are.
Where do you fall on this question? Too many tools or not enough?
I voted too many. I think I see you voted too many as well. Yeah, I saw there's a comment like downwards in that thread that's like not enough that do enough, I think is what there we go. Oh yeah, it's right above that one. Too many, yet none that are actually enough. I think that's very fair. It seems like I was trying to sort a compensation type of thing with Index Coop a while ago, and we were using like 4 different DAO tools. We had I think like Coordinape, Opolis, D-Work or something that was for Europeans, and something else and it was crazy. And this is one tiny aspect of our business that isn't really like obviously not the most important, and stays mostly internal. And we were still using 4 tools for it. I was looking at our DAO credit card, like payments the other day, and there were so many tools on it. I was like, I don't even know who uses this. But yeah, I'd go with too many. Unfortunately, maybe one day we'll see a streamlined. It's better than a monopolized DAO tooling landscape, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's like the story of like software, though, is like, I think hopefully not, but like eventually it might get consolidated into like 3 to 5 big tools. Like, what's the alternative, right? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Support small businesses via DAO tooling.
Yeah. I mean, like, the ethos of the entire like DAO movement is like, I don't know. there's so many things that run counter to like the idea of decentralization, like with the medias and like having to have verticals. Like that's just the way things have to work, or the way we think they have to work, because that's all we know that exists.
Very fair.
So it'll be interesting to see. But I think there's definitely too many DAO tools. I mean, we talk about it. Frisian always is like, too many DAO tools, not enough.
I was doing like fake AI tweets for people that I know because I thought it was funny for myself. This was the same night that I was commenting on, the Instagram thing, shit posting. But, and for Frisian, one came out that was like, too many DAO tool.
That sounds exactly like him.
It does.
So we'll see. I think I don't know. I mean, Tally is a DAO tool, so this is something near and dear to, but like something we've done or we've seen happen, kind of like I guess not like a secret if you're just looking closely, but a lot of our like competition per se, we just absorb a lot of their product and they don't iterate, and then that's it, right? Like, even if we weren't there, they would probably like die anyway. We're just kind of like expediting the process, but it really is like who's going to have the best team and the best momentum, and who iterates the most, who ships the most. That's what we like to do, is like under promise, over deliver, and just constantly ship updates. Like we bias towards shipping and then fixing after. That doesn't mean we ship a broken product, but there might be like small things that need to be changed. So
that's a cool like little phrase for you guys.
It's
probably not what a lot of teams do.
Yeah, it's something we're very intentional about internally, and we kind of like refocus on it each week. So
yeah, that's cool. I feel like DAO Tools might be like this, like 97.7% of Uniswap tokens are rug pulls. Like 97.7% of DAO Tools might be shit, but the volume's probably in the ones that are functional.
Sorry, you cut out for a second. You said 97.7% of DAO, like similar to the rug pull, like they're just bullshit.
Like they might be shit, but at least the volume's in the DAO Tools that actually work.
Yeah. I feel like we're kind of in the stage now of like post ICO boom, or post like NFT craze, where like anybody can just create a project and it's going to get some sort of liquidity. I think now the DAO space is kind of realizing like it's maturing a little bit. It's nowhere near mature, but like people are going to use the tools that, a lot of these big projects use and are tried and true. And there's not really much space for, non-innovative products. So we'll see.
Totally.
All right. Let's end on some quick news from the space. Zora built a Nouns Builder protocol, which is pretty sweet. It looks freaking awesome. I don't know if you've seen it. Zora's fucking sweet. They released a Nouns Builder protocol, which is basically like a DAO launcher for anyone that wants to build a Nouns fork, because there are so many Nouns forks. It's not live yet. They submitted it for funding. They've been working on it for about 4 months. Submitted it to Nouns as a proposal. It is pending right now. A little like high-level overview. They requested a $1 million seed funding, like investment round. I don't know what you want to call it.
Shit.
Yeah. So they invested. I think it might be a little bit more. It was 1,000 ETH investment from the Treasury, and if you look top left, the Treasury is 29,486 ETH. So it's not going to break the bank. That just shows you the level of like funds Nouns has. I think it'll get approved just because it's so fucking good, and it's just like, hey, you want to start a Nouns fork? Cool, come create it. Similar to like what we're doing with groups and being able to launch a DAO on Tally, making it as easy as possible for like non-technical people to launch is going to be really sweet. Any thoughts on Nouns? I want to hear your thoughts on Nouns. Like, what do you think? Or is it more of just, like you just see it from like?
I think it's fucking sick. Yeah, probably more cultural. I think it's fucking sick. I was trying to help someone launch a DAO governance thing, and they initially wanted to use DAO House, and you had to like figure out GitHub and all this crap, and we sacked it. in favor of Tally, actually. So this is cool to make a nouns fork on a nouns builder, because I think the technical stuff is so far out of many people who are deep into the space's wheelhouses, including mine. So very cool. Yeah. Nouns is sick. Nothing but good things to say. I wish I had one.
Yeah, I think we all wish we
had. Yeah, it's a story of everyone's life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I would say is like, besides the original nouns DAO, we haven't seen many like massively successful versions of a nouns fork. Like for instance, like this builder is just for noun style DAOs. So like, the way it works is like there's one noun auctioned every certain amount of time. For them, it's a day. For little nouns, it's 15 minutes. And then that's how you fund the treasury. That's how you fund the DAO. So if you want to do anything different than that style of governance or operations, like you can't use this builder. So it's kind of like it's just putting all of its eggs into, the nouns ecosystem or the noun style of building a DAO, which that's the only downside. That's not even that big of a downside, right? But this is something to think about down the line.
Yeah, there should be so many more projects with it now. So maybe some will gain some success.
I hope so. All right.
Be starting my own.
Soon. Cool horse girl. Soon. Clubhouse, I don't even think of Clubhouse as anything other than Twitter copying it in Spaces, but they released an announcement this week. I think this is from one of their founders. Yeah, I'm excited to let you all know token gated houses are now in beta on Clubhouse. The first house is for CH Wagme NFT project, which was a community discovered sensation after we built it for educational purposes internally. And there's a little bit of a demo here. It integrates pretty nicely with MetaMask. I think it's interesting, right? It's just another like Web 2 implementation of like crypto. Sorry.
Token gating definitely needed. So yeah, should be cool.
So maybe we'll end on like, what are your thoughts around like, it kind of goes with DAO tools and this and like everything we've kind of talked about, but the like fragmentation and it kind of how nouns deleted their Discord last week, like the fragmentation of like communication platforms of like DAOs and Web3 in general. Do you think that's like, I'm starting to have the like the belief or like thought that like the fragmentation of all those messaging platforms isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think maybe because the people that are in it are all like internet native and grew up on the internet and they're just like nerds and spend all their times in front of a screen. But like, you just got to know where to look and constantly check every different app. What do you think about that? Is it something like you don't like or do like?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't even know my own opinion on it. It's so nice to be able to do like project management platforms exist for a reason, right? Like it's so nice to be able to do every single thing in Notion or like in Asana. But I sort of like, in a way, this might be a hot take, the like barrier to entry of stuff being sort of like, I guess, decentralized across platforms, because then the only people really committing to the project are people who do know where to look or people who care enough to figure out where to look. So yeah, I guess if I had to decide, I'd sacrifice convenience for the like little barrier to entry that probably produces better outcomes for everyone. Yeah. It should be good with the Clubhouse stuff, tying into many different things like DAO tools and our 97.7% stuff.
Yeah. Can you see? Oh wait, my browser was switched sides. Sorry. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Maybe let's end with the JP Morgan news.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Huge. I'm so excited. So excited. Yeah, I guess we would say right there, JP Morgan executed its first DeFi trade on a blockchain. They also use Polygon course. And I think it has to do with some like, I don't know, they're part of some like banks, banks looking forward type of, Authority of Singapore project, which is good. Pilot program, hopefully the first of many. So yeah, very, very excited. I think, this is huge. I don't even think it's set in for me, let alone others. Index Coop, for one, is very institutions focused. So we are shitting ourselves, I think. No other way to put that. But yeah, super exciting.
That's awesome. This is so cool. What was the do you have any more context around it, or did it just happen? Did you know it was going to happen?
I don't think that anyone has more context on it, because I've read so many things and it's like, what actually was it? I still don't know. That's something to figure out. I don't think it says in this article. I haven't seen it on Twitter. If anyone knows why gamers hate NFTs and what they actually traded, belong in my DMs ASAP.
Yeah. I mean, JP Morgan's been like very publicly, their CEO has been like very publicly anti-crypto. And then you just watch what they actually do and it's like, oh no, they're very bullish on crypto. This is kind of cool.
Dude's just a boomer. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Super cool.
Cool Horse Girl. Thank you for joining. As always, go subscribe to DAOtalk.substack.com if you want the newsletter in your inbox every Tuesday. That's just the written version of everything we talk about. Go check out Content Guild at Content Guild XYZ on Twitter. Come join the Discord. Come join us in the Discord if you want to chat more content. Chat to me and Cool Horse Girl every week. Cool Horse Girl, where can people find you? Where should they find you on Twitter? I know you have a second account now. You got hacked.
Yeah, got hacked by a porn bot a few weeks ago. So I'm now Cool Horse Girl 2 on Twitter. So yeah, very cool.
Awesome. Easy to find. Also, you're running content at Index Coop, correct?
Yes, I am. Yes,
awesome.
indexcoop.com also. We're updating our website to be more on track with these beautiful websites we've seen. Yeah. So should be good.
Oh, yeah. All right, go check out Index Coop. Go hit us up on Twitter at Tommy Lauer, at Cool Horse Girl 2. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Peace.
Sweet. Bye, guys.